You think she'll ever find out? Not a chance. She's clueless. Clueless? I think the word you mean is blind. I could walk out the door and she wouldn't notice. The laughter that followed those words hit me like a physical blow. I stood frozen just outside our living room, my heart pounding in my chest as I clutched the grocery bags. I had come home early to surprise Lucas on his birthday. I even got his favorite cake from that bakery downtown. Now, the only surprise was mine. I peeked around the doorway. Lucas was lounging on the couch, a smug grin on his face. Nathan, our son, leaned against the fireplace. They both looked content, as if they didn't have a care in the world. As I strained to hear more, I focused on staying out of sight. Carla's coming over later, Lucas continued, his voice dripping with satisfaction. We'll have the house to ourselves. Nathan chuckled. Mom's probably out shopping for your gift. Irony, huh? Too wrapped up in her own little world to see what's right in front of her. Tears blurred my vision, but I quickly wiped them away. I wanted to burst into the room to scream at them, but instead I took out my phone and started recording. You don't think she suspects anything? Nathan asked, his tone softer but still betraying a trace of amusement. Trust me, Lucas said confidently. Rebecca's been too busy playing the perfect housewife to notice. Besides, Carla knows how to stay discreet. I couldn't listen to any more. Carefully, I stepped back and slipped down the hallway. Each step felt heavy, laden with the weight of this betrayal. I found my way to our bedroom and closed the door quietly. I sank onto the edge of the bed, staring at nothing in particular as the recording played back in my mind. I had dedicated 25 years of my life to this man. I raised our children, kept our home, supported Lucas through every up and down. And this was my reward, disrespect and disdain from both my husband and my son. Anger started to replace the initial stabbing hurt, a cold, clear anger that focused my mind and steadied my breath. They thought they could laugh at me behind my back? Take advantage of my trust and love? No, I would not let them walk away unscathed. But I needed a plan. And for that, I needed someone I could trust completely. Emma. My daughter had always been my rock. She would help me see this through. I reached for my phone to call her, but hesitated. Not yet. I needed to think, to ensure that everything was in place before I shared this burden with her. For now, capturing this moment was enough. Taking a deep breath, I listened again to the recording, letting each word carve itself into my memory. As the final laugh echoed in my ears, I made a silent vow. Lucas and Nathan might have played me for a fool, but they were about to learn just how wrong they were. I had always put my family first. Now, it was time to put myself first and make them face the consequences of their actions. They wanted to play games? Fine, but I would be the one setting the rules. Emma rushed to my side the moment I called her. As I met her eyes, I could see the fierce loyalty that had always made her the one person I could rely on. Her dark eyes, so much like mine, widened with concern as she stepped into the living room. Mom, what's wrong? You sounded so upset on the phone. I handed her my phone without a word, the recorded conversation already queued up. As she listened, her expression shifted from confusion to anger. When the recording ended, she looked up, her face pale but determined. How long has this been going on? Her voice was just above a whisper, trembling with barely contained fury. I don't know exactly, I replied, my voice steadier than I expected. But it doesn't matter. We need to gather more evidence and make them face the consequences. Emma nodded, her jaw set. We'll make them pay, but first we need concrete proof, something they can't deny or weasel their way out of. Her words filled me with a sense of purpose. What do you suggest? Emma pulled out her laptop and started typing frantically. We need a private investigator, someone who can follow them without being noticed. I'll handle it. The resolve in her voice was reassuring. Watching her work, I felt a strange mix of sadness and pride. Sadness that it had come to this, pride in the strength my daughter was showing. She made a call, arranging for a meeting with an investigator. The speed and efficiency with which she acted reminded me of how much I had underestimated my own strength and hers. Emma finished the call and turned to face me. Mom, there's something you need to do too, she said, her voice softer now. You need to act normal. If they suspect anything, we'll never get the evidence. The thought of pretending everything was fine made my stomach churn, but I knew she was right. I'll do it, I said, a hint of steel in my voice. Emma's expression softened as she reached out and squeezed my hand. We'll get through this together. The next few days were a blur of normalcy, interspersed with moments of raw pain. I went about my routines, cooking meals, smiling through conversations, pretending everything was perfectly fine. At night, I clung to the promise of what was to come, replaying the recording to remind myself why I was doing this. Meanwhile, Emma took charge. She met with the private investigator and shared the details of Lucas's and Nathan's routines. The investigator promised to keep us updated with any findings. The professionalism and assurance he exuded were like a balm on our frayed nerves. One evening, as we sat in the kitchen, Emma looked at me with a seriousness that made my breath catch. "I've been thinking," she began. "Once we have the evidence, we need a plan that hits them hard where it hurts the most. In public." I thought about Lucas's stature in our community, his polished image of a dedicated husband and father. "A family gathering," I suggested. "Somewhere they can't escape from the spotlight." Emma's eyes gleamed with a predatory light. "Dad's birthday is coming up, we could use that." As the plan started to take shape, my sorrow mixed with the fierce determination to see this through. I had spent too long living in shadows, but I wasn't clueless anymore. We were pulling back the curtains and the light would be blinding. The waiting felt endless. Emma and I met the private investigator in a small cafe far from home. He was an older man, tall with graying hair and an air of quiet efficiency. He introduced himself as Mr. Harris. "Please call me Rebecca," I said, my voice steady, masking the turmoil inside. He nodded. "Rebecca, I understand the gravity of your situation. My job is to help you get the evidence you need. I've already started following Lucas and your son." Emma leaned forward, her expression intense. "Have you found anything yet?" Harris glanced between us, then pulled out his phone. "I've recorded several meetings between Lucas and the other woman, Carla. They're quite revealing." He showed us a few clips. Lucas and Carla in a cozy restaurant, laughing and holding hands. Another, Lucas dropping a quick kiss on Carla's lips in the park. And then, most damning of all, a video of Lucas and Nathan discussing plans for another rendezvous, making derogatory jokes about me. Each clip stung, but it also solidified my resolve. "He's so smug," Emma muttered, her fists clenched. "He thinks he can get away with this." I touched her hand lightly. "We need to keep our focus. This is just the start." Mr. Harris agreed. "I'll continue gathering evidence. It's essential to have an overwhelming amount. When we expose them, there should be no escape." As he left, I felt a strange calm settle over me. We had the beginnings of a plan and the means to execute it. The following days were harder. We had to act as if nothing had changed. Every interaction with Lucas felt like walking on shards of glass. He was oblivious to the storm brewing, treating me with the same casual indifference that had become routine. Nathan avoided direct conversations, his guilt perhaps making him wary. One evening, as I sat alone in the living room, a wave of nostalgia hit me. I looked at the family photos, snapshots of a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. Lucas and I on our wedding day, smiling with a promise of forever. The kids, younger and innocent, their faces beaming with happiness. It was a life built on illusions, now crumbling to a harsh reality. Emma found me there, lost in the past. "Mom, you okay?" I nodded, blinking away the tears. "Just remembering." "Don't let them get to you," she said firmly. "They don't deserve your tears." Her words brought me back. She was right. Days later, Harris called us. "Rebecca, Emma, I have more. Videos of Lucas and Carla, conversations with Nathan. It's substantial." Meeting him again, we reviewed the evidence. It was incriminating enough to ruin Lucas's carefully constructed image. Emma was right. We'd use his birthday party to unmask him. As Harris left, Emma and I began planning the details. The party had to be perfect. Lucas's big day turned into his public downfall. We decided on the guest list, ensuring it included key family members and friends, people who would spread the word and support us afterward. One afternoon, as we finalized plans, Emma paused. "Mom, are you sure you're ready for this?" I looked at her, my face set with determination. "I have to be. There's no turning back." With each step, we moved closer to the confrontation. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming our dignity and starting anew. When Mr. Harris delivered the final set of evidence, Emma and I knew it was time to move. The photos, videos, and recorded conversations painted a clear picture of Lucas's deceit and Nathan's complicity. We had everything we needed. "Look at them," Emma seethed as she reviewed the latest footage. Lucas and Carla in a hotel lobby, sharing an intimate moment before disappearing into an elevator. "He has no shame." "And Nathan," I added, my voice tight with controlled anger, "conspiring with his father, treating me like a fool." "We'll make sure everyone sees them for who they really are," Emma promised. We planned the party meticulously. It was to be Lucas's birthday celebration, a grand affair with friends, family, and colleagues. Everyone who mattered would be there. Emma created a slideshow, a tribute to Lucas, which would start with innocent family pictures before transitioning to the damning evidence. She was the technical wizard. I trusted her to handle it. On the day of the party, the house was buzzing with preparations. Lucas was in high spirits, beaming as he greeted guests, clueless about the storm that was about to hit him. Nathan, too, played his part, putting on a show of being the doting son. Emma and I moved through the crowd, making small talk, maintaining appearances. My insides churned with a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. As dinner wound down, Lucas stood up, tapping his glass for attention. "Thank you all for being here. It's wonderful to celebrate another year with my beautiful wife and amazing children." I forced a smile, my heart racing. "And now a special surprise for you, Dad," Emma interjected smoothly. "A trip down memory lane. Everyone, please direct your attention to the screen." The room quieted as the lights dimmed. The slideshow began with cheerful photos, our wedding, family vacations, Christmas mornings. Lucas smiled, basking in the warmth of shared memories. Then the tone shifted. A video clip showed Lucas and Carla, too close for mere friends, their faces turning pale on the screen. Whispers filled the room. As the slideshow played on, it became apparent to everyone what they were witnessing: Lucas's betrayal in vivid detail. Lucas's face turned ashen. "What the hell is this?" he barked, looking around, eyes wild. "The truth," Emma said coldly, standing tall beside me. "For everyone to see." Nathan jumped to his feet. "This isn't right. You had no right to do this." "And you had no right to betray my trust, Nathan," I responded, my voice unwavering. "You both treated me with such disdain, and now the world sees you for what you are." The room erupted in hushed conversations, judgmental gazes fixed on Lucas and Nathan. Carla, who had foolishly accepted Emma's invitation, sat frozen in her seat, realization dawning on her. Lucas fumbled for words. "Rebecca, we can talk about this privately." "There's nothing left to say in private," I cut him off. "It's all out in the open now." Emma addressed the guests. "This is who they are, my father Lucas and my brother Nathan, cheaters and liars." Lucas attempted to leave, but the room had become crowded with people wanting explanations, wanting to confront him. I could see his carefully crafted world crumbling, just as mine had when I heard that first damning conversation. Emma and I stood side by side, united in our purpose. As Lucas and Nathan squirmed under the spotlight, I felt a sense of liberation. It wasn't just about exposing them. It was about reclaiming our lives. The room felt claustrophobic, with tension and whispered condemnation. As I looked around, I realized how many people saw through Lucas's deceitful charm now. He was no longer the respected man he once was. Emma's grip on my hand tightened. "We're free, Mom," she whispered. "They can't hurt us anymore." And as I gazed at the wreckage of Lucas's and Nathan's constructed facades, I knew she was right. The fallout from the party was immediate. Lucas and Nathan were disowned by almost everyone who had once praised them. But Emma and I were just getting started. Emma came up with the idea to speak with Carla directly. "Mom, we need to ensure she doesn't become a pawn in their next game," she said, determination flashing in her eyes. "We have to make her understand what she's dealing with." I agreed. Maybe we can use her vanity to our advantage. Emma found Carla's contact information and arranged a discreet meeting at a coffee shop far from our usual haunts. When Carla walked in, she looked wary but couldn't hide her curiosity. "What do you want?" she asked, settling into the chair across from us. "To inform you," Emma began, her voice sharp, "of what you've gotten yourself into." Carla shifted uncomfortably. "I don't know what you mean." "You know exactly what we mean," I chimed in. "Lucas is not the man you think he is. He has lied to you, just as he lied to me for 25 years, and now he's dragged our son into his deceit." Carla's eyes widened with a mix of guilt and confusion. I didn't know, or didn't care? Emma interrupted, leaning forward. Listen, you saw what happened at the party. Did Lucas tell you any different before you walked in there? Carla glanced down at her hands. He told me. He said you were crazy, that you were overreacting. I took a deep breath, calming the storm within me. I was many things, Carla. Naive, trusting, blinded by love, but never crazy. Lucas has used and manipulated you too. Emma fixed her with a penetrating stare. You've become a part of something bigger than you realize. We suggest you distance yourself. Quickly. A flicker of defiance crossed Carla's face. And if I don't? Then you go down with them, Emma said bluntly. We've already exposed them to their closest family and friends. The next step could be the media. How do you think that will affect you? Carla's bravado crumbled. What do you want from me? Just stay away. Let Lucas and Nathan face the consequences of their actions alone, I said. Carla nodded slowly. All right, I'll steer clear. She stood up, glancing around as if she was already planning her escape from this web of lies. After she left, Emma and I sat in silence for a moment, processing the encounter. If she's smart, she'll take our advice, Emma said finally. We returned home, feeling a sense of grim satisfaction. The wheels were in motion, and there was no turning back. The next few days were filled with subtle preparations for the final confrontation. One morning, as we reviewed our plans, Emma suggested one last touch. Let's reach out to a few of Dad's business associates. They should know the real Lucas, too. I nodded. It's time everyone sees the truth. Emma made discreet calls, inviting a select few to a special follow-up gathering. The anticipation built up inside me. We were finally nearing the moment when Lucas and Nathan would face the full extent of their betrayal. The stage was set. Emma and I waited, knowing that when the dust settled, we'd come out stronger, standing tall amidst the ruins of deceit. With each step, we edged closer to reclaiming our lives, to severing the bonds that had kept us trapped in a lie. This wasn't just about revenge, it was our journey to freedom. The anticipation hung thick in the air at Lucas's family birthday party. The house was filled with guests, the hum of conversation masking the tension that Emma and I felt. We had spent weeks planning for this moment, and it was finally here. As Lucas mingled, seemingly unaware of the storm about to hit him, Emma and I moved through the crowd, ensuring that everything was in place. The projector was set up, cables discreetly tucked away. Emma's laptop was ready to unveil the ultimate betrayal. Lucas finally tapped his glass, calling for attention. Thank you all for joining me. It means a lot to celebrate with you all, he began, his voice confident, his smile wide. Emma stepped forward, her expression solemn but purposeful. Dad, before we continue, we have something special prepared, a tribute, if you will. She signaled to start the video. The room quieted, faces turning towards the screen. The video began innocuously enough, photos of Lucas from his childhood, his early career, and family moments. But then it shifted. Lucas and Carla, in that infamous hotel lobby, their intimacy laid bare for all to see. Lucas's smile faltered, confusion quickly morphing into alarm. The room buzzed with murmurs, guests exchanging shocked glances. Nathan sprang to his feet. What's the meaning of this? Emma's voice was steely. This is the real Lucas Spencer, the man who betrayed his wife and manipulated his son into joining his deceit. The scenes shifted, each frame more incriminating than the last. Lucas and Carla's secret meetings, Nathan laughing about their scheming, it was irrefutable. Faces in the crowd turned from the screen to Lucas, eyes filled with disbelief and growing anger. You had no right, Lucas started, but I cut him off. You gave up any rights when you decided to mock our marriage, our family, I said, my voice carrying the rage I had held back for so long. Aunt Sarah stood, her face red with anger. Lucas, how could you? We trusted you. Similar condemnations echoed around the room. Lucas looked around, desperation in his eyes. He reached out to Nathan, who stepped back. I can explain, Lucas stuttered. This isn't what it looks like. Don't insult our intelligence any further, Emma snapped. We have the proof. You can't talk your way out of this. Nathan looked at me, his face a mix of fear and defiance. You tricked us, he said, but the confidence was gone. You tricked yourselves, I shot back. You thought we were too weak to see the truth, but here we are, stronger than ever. The weight of the evidence left Lucas and Nathan with no room to maneuver. Friends and family surrounded them, demanding explanations, apologies that wouldn't come. Carla, who had slipped in quietly, now stood at the back, eyes wide with shock. As the chaos settled, I stepped forward. "I've decided to end this sham of a marriage," I announced. "Lucas and Nathan, you are no longer a part of this family's future. Your actions have consequences." Lucas tried to speak, but the crowd had turned against him, his words drowned by their outrage. Emma looked at me, her expression fierce yet relieved. "It's done, Mom. They're finished." In the aftermath, Lucas and Nathan stood isolated, the crowd parting as Emma and I walked away, hand in hand. The facade had crumbled, and while the damage was still raw, I felt a newfound sense of freedom. We left the party, the hubbub fading behind us. For the first time in years, the future seemed clear. Lucas and Nathan would face their karma, while Emma and I began forging a path defined by truth and strength. We were free, and that was the greatest revenge of all. Lucas and Nathan's downfall echoed far beyond the confines of the party. Word spread quickly through our close-knit community. Social media buzzed with the scandal, photos and videos circulating widely. Overnight, they became pariahs. At dinner one evening, Emma checked her phone and smirked. "Look at this, Mom. Lucas got dropped from the country club committee, and one of his biggest clients pulled their contract." I managed a small, satisfied smile. Consequences come in many forms. Nathan, too, felt the sting. His friends distanced themselves, his reputation tarnished by association. I heard from a neighbor that he had lost a job offer, the company citing concerns about personal integrity. One afternoon, Lucas showed up at the house. He looked disheveled, far from the confident man I once knew. "Rebecca, we need to talk." I blocked the door. "We have nothing more to say to each other, Lucas. Please," he pleaded, desperation in his eyes. "I know I messed up, but we can work this out." "There's nothing to work out, Tom," I said firmly. "You made your choices, and now you're facing the consequences." He tried to step inside, but I stood my ground. "Just hear me out." Emma appeared behind me, her expression icy. "You need to leave, Dad. You had your chance to make things right, and you blew it." Lucas looked between us, realizing he had lost. "This isn't fair," he muttered, turning away. "I just wanted to explain." As he walked back to his car, I felt an odd mix of pity and relief. Pity for the man who had lost everything by his own actions, and relief that I was no longer tethered to his lies. Days turned into weeks, and the support from family and friends poured in. They rallied around Emma and me, offering help and comfort. It was a stark contrast to the isolation Lucas and Nathan faced. One morning, as I was sipping coffee on the porch, Nathan approached. His shoulders were slumped, his eyes red and puffy. "Mom, can we talk?" I nodded, gesturing to the chair beside me. There was no point in being cruel, but I kept my guard up. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice cracking. "I didn't realize how much I hurt you." "You were old enough to choose differently, Nathan," I replied. "You knew what you were doing, and still you sided with your father." He looked down, guilt etched on his face. "I thought it would be different. I thought he'd change." I sighed, the weight of the last few months pressing down on me. "Change doesn't come easy, and respect is earned. You have a long way to go." "I want to make it right," he said, desperation creeping into his voice. "Tell me how." I stared at him, searching for any sign of sincerity. "Prove it, Nathan. Actions speak louder than words. Show me you've learned from this." As he left, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he could find a way to redeem himself, but I wouldn't lower my guard just yet. Rebecca officially announced her decision to leave Lucas, serving him with divorce papers that same week. He didn't put up much of a fight. He knew better than to prolong the inevitable. I felt a sense of closure as the paperwork was finalized. It was the end of an era and the start of a new beginning. Emma and I began to rebuild. Our home felt lighter without Lucas's presence, the air clearer, our hearts no longer weighed down by deceit. Each day brought a small victory, a step toward healing and independence. Despite the lingering pain, we moved forward, stronger and more united than ever. Lucas and Nathan were left to deal with their fractured lives, the consequences of their betrayal, a constant reminder of the price of dishonesty. The journey had been arduous, but Emma and I had emerged victorious, free from the shadows that once loomed over us. Moving in with Emma was a breath of fresh air. Her apartment, bursting with life and color, felt like a sanctuary from the storm we had weathered. We settled into a routine, a mix of familiar comforts and newfound freedom. One evening, as we were unpacking the last of my belongings, Emma glanced at me. "How do you feel, Mom?" "Strangely liberated," I admitted. "It's like a weight has been lifted." She smiled, her eyes bright and glad. "You deserve happiness, real happiness." We spent the next few days repainting the walls and rearranging furniture, small acts that symbolized the fresh start we were both craving. The distraction of setting up a new space gave me a sense of control over my life again. Meanwhile, Lucas and Nathan struggled to find their footing. Emma occasionally heard through friends about Lucas's attempts to reclaim his social standing, each one more desperate than the last. "Lucas tried to get an invitation to the Starks' annual fundraiser," Emma said one afternoon, sipping her coffee. "They turned him down flat." "People remember betrayal," I replied, folding laundry with a contented smile. "It's a long road to redemption." Nathan visited sporadically, each time looking more remorseful. One day, he arrived with a bouquet of flowers, a rare gesture for him. "Mom, I've been thinking a lot," he started, his usually confident voice subdued. "I want to make things right." I put the flowers in a vase, the bright colors a stark contrast to the heavy conversation. "Actions speak louder than words, Nathan. You'll have to prove your sincerity with time." "I know, and I want to," he said earnestly. "I've started volunteering at the local shelter, and I'm trying to build myself back up. I just need you to see that I'm serious." I noticed the genuine effort in his eyes, a flicker of the boy I once knew. "Keep at it, Nathan," I said softly. "Redemption isn't immediate, but it's possible." As he left, I felt a glimmer of hope. It was a long process, but there was potential for healing. Lucas's attempts at reconciliation were less frequent and more strained. One day, as I walked through the park, he approached me, looking haggard and worn. "Rebecca, please," he started, but I stopped him. "There's nothing you can say to change the past, Lucas," I said firmly. "We both need to move on." He slumped, nodding. "I know, I just wanted to apologize." "I appreciate that, but it's too late," I replied, turning away. "Focus on changing yourself, not on fixing what's already broken." Walking away, I felt a sense of closure. The chapters with Lucas and Nathan were drawing to an end, and it was time for me to step into a brighter, independent future. Emma and I began planning small weekend trips, visiting places we had always talked about. Each journey was a reminder of the world beyond the confines of betrayal and deceit. We laughed more, shared stories, and forged a stronger bond than ever before. One crisp autumn morning, as we hiked through a nearby trail, Emma turned to me, her eyes shining. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" "We have," I said, taking in the vibrant scenery, "and it's only the beginning." As we stood there, overlooking the expanse of trees and lakes, I felt a deep sense of peace. The road to rebuilding had been challenging, but with each step we moved further from the shadows. Lucas and Nathan were now figures in our past, their betrayals lessons learned and left behind. Emma and I faced the future with renewed strength and hope. We had unmasked the shadows, and now, standing in the light, we were ready to embrace whatever came next, together.